All right, so to start the panel, I do not believe they need an introduction, or do they? All right, Mark Pierce and Michael Turpin. So here to talk about something that since its inception, when Bitcoin started, I thought, what an awesome project. That's a great way to fight against the asymmetry, the Wall Street, the 99%, the governments, all these things. Bitcoin was born around the same time as Wall Street bets for the same reasons. I was hopeful for the Bitcoin, and I said, good luck, motherfucker, because you're up against governments. You're not going to make it. I hope you do, but good luck. Nevertheless, 15 years or so later, here we are. The governments have stopped it, slowed it, and besides their best efforts, it grew and grew and grew, and finally are capitulating. So, the first question to the panelists is, what do you think, as far as, let's begin with U.S. politics, whether they are headed in the right direction? Why do you think they're embracing Bitcoin despite the concession that it is a threat to the U.S. dollar? And what do you expect to come out of legislators when they do their bureaucratic process?
Well, if we can get everybody's attention for a moment, you can talk outside or by the bar. Now you have Wall Street Bets, Michael Turpin, and little old me here. Please, a little bit of respect.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain what we got here. We got 3 crypto and finance rock stars, and if you don't listen to them, I will talk to you at this volume for the next half an hour. You don't want that. So please, no, they're awesome. Bring your attention and intention. Rock.
So the question is, where are we as we look at the transformation of our reality? At first they fight you, but eventually you win. What happened here is $2-3 trillion of wealth and massive population enough to affect elections, and then you get to affect policy. And that's what we're witnessing right now. We have a crypto president in the White House in the United States of America. And that leadership is going to change the world. I've been advising half the nations of the world, and every time, every family office, every major institution, the question's always been the same. What's America gonna do? America has made its bet. It's bet on Wall Street 2.0. Gold and every other animal you can imagine, which is March 7th, not even 2 months ago today. And I can tell you, every government is saying, how fast can we go? Every time before they said, what's America gonna do? We know what it's gonna do, change the world. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for a new world? Are you ready for a golden age? Are you ready for transformation? Are you ready? Are you ready for PR transform?
Well said. So, first of all, I would agree with everything Brock said. I would also argue a little bit with Jamie that I think for the most part, governments aren't necessarily, I think now a number of them are embracing it as an asset to basically fight hyperinflation. And in particular, it's not just Bitcoin, it's now stable coins, right? And without Bitcoin, the original blockchain, remember Satoshi created not only Bitcoin, created the blockchain. It's in the white paper. This chain of blocks. Without that, you wouldn't have all the other assets. As many of you know, I wrote the book Bitcoin Supercycle last year. I successfully predicted in the book that came out, finished the writing of it before we hit the new all-time high. The day that Trump was elected, And that was about the time of the cycle was supposed to happen, but that put an exclamation point on it. And then from there, it went from 73,000 to 109,000 on on inauguration day. Brock and I were both there along with a lot of other people, freezing their butts off to basically welcome the new crypto president. And yes, we've had a pullback now. This is not a bear market, folks. This is an ordinary pullback. This is the 5th Bitcoin cycle out of 33 that we're going to have. The last 25 will have less than 1 million Bitcoin. And yet we only have, here's a statistic everybody needs to recognize, only 5% of the world has even a penny worth of Bitcoin. 5%. Yet we're 95% out of Bitcoin. 95% has been mined. And we're heading into the same kind of S-curve of adoption. You know, it takes a while, a decade or so, for it to start going mainstream. We're there now. And with every other, you can chart Bitcoin adoption versus the internet, versus mobile phones. They're all on the same curve. We are just a little ahead of internet adoption now. Internet went from, you know, nobody, when Brock and I got involved in it, to, I mean, literally in 1994, I think there was like 3 or 4 million people. Now it's 5 billion, it's most of the world. And if you get to the same percentage in 20 years of Bitcoin, even if it's abstracted, even if it's through ETFs, whatever, you can't make more Bitcoin. You won't find it on Mars.
Yeah, Bitcoin!
You have to just simply buy it at a higher price. This has been different than any other disruptive technology. You need more internet? Call Cisco, their stock's gonna zoom. They'll make more routers. You need more mobile phones? Motorola was God candle on their stock when they were making phones. You can't make more Bitcoin. And that's what's different, and that's also what's enabling stable coins. The percentage of stable coin growth has just been astronomical. I think it like quadrupled in the last couple of months just in Western Africa. And as Donald Trump astutely observed, and he didn't get this his first term, but he sure gets it now, this does not hurt the US dollar. This exports dollars around the world. And what's Tether doing? Founded by Brock, by the way, was buy one of the top 3 or 4 buyers of T-bills in the world. And as stable coins continue, it'll be led by Tether, USDC, and a few others, some new ones too. Right here in Dubai, Reed Collins, who's the co-founder and original CEO of Tether, and Gundeep Rangi Singh are starting Pi Protocol. You can Google it, and it's like a Tether, but you get to keep the yield. You know, so there's still a lot of innovation to happen, and a lot of this is happening right here in Dubai. The U.S. has obviously been good friends with Dubai. You haven't heard a lot of the trade issues really be, you know, expounded about anything between Dubai and the UAE and the U.S. as opposed to Canada coming out now and saying, oh, the whole world's changed, et cetera, et cetera. But no, I think for the most part that it is a brave new crypto world now, and we're happy to live in it.
Isn't Canada a state?
Gulf of America. All right, so actually this is a moment that I wish I wasn't the moderator and actually a panelist because I have my opinion as well. It took a lot of balls for somebody and a lot of foresight to realize it's not a threat, but an increase of demand for the dollar, right? Because, I'll leave it at that. But living in Mexico myself, being very well familiar with the politics of economics, yes, you're right. El Salvador was the first one to adopt Bitcoin, right? And Ecuador right now uses the US dollar, the physical bills, the green ones, as because they're fighting inflation. So for similar reasons, similar approaches. But now that begs the next question, since you guys are more long-winded than I am. The question is one word, CBDC. That's the question.
Well, I was just with my friend who invented the term for lunch. He ran Sina, starting Chanda, and the Chinese internet. Remember one thing, technology is amoral. is neither good or bad. Electricity can be used to make light or electrocute. How we use it determines the impact it has. So CBDC is just an acronym. It can be used to enslave or liberate humanity. But it is a relevant conversation. And so, you know, a bunch of things, you know, I mean, I can go on and on about stable coins. To just correct, Tether is doing nearly, coming up on 100 trillion dollars of transactional volume. 85 billion of treasuries now bought. Bigger than any company in the world. I think number 15 or so in the world of buyers, only competing against governments. And I spent a lot of my life explaining to the National Security Council why they shouldn't shut me down. And I'm glad we're here. I said one day you'll thank me. And they do now. Because over 90% of all the future financial system settles in US dollars. At a time where demand for dollars is in decline, brick or otherwise, and the dollar demand is on the rise as a result of trade settlements and otherwise. And so, you know, here we are. Where do we go from here? You, each and every one of you here, the future is going to happen to you, or it's going to happen with you. Be the change you want to see in the world. It is a reflection of you. Our reality is our collective reality, and the only way you upgrade it is by being your best possible self.
And we have a lot of creators and builders right in this room. We have a massive amount of them this week. And thank God there's no rain this week, right? Last year was the halving. I was on Brock's boat when the halving hit. I was expecting fireworks to go off. I mentioned this in the opening pages of my book. And but you know, it's just remarkable when this conference moved from London to Dubai. And of course, simultaneously, Dubai passed Heathrow as the busiest airport in the world. And so this is a fitting place to be at the pinnacle of the most disruptive and most important industry in the world right now. I mean, AI is important as well. And I think they're going to go hand in hand. You can see with all the investment in decentralized AI, which is being kind of laughed at right now, just like Bitcoin was. And by the way, your statement, you quoted the short version, starting with fighting. It's attributed to Gandhi. Nobody's seen the actual quote, though. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. And right now we are in the winning. We're at the start of the winning. Still some fights happening. You know, Elizabeth Warren is sort of locked in a little cage, but if the midterms go the wrong way, she'll be out fluttering again. So, I guess...
let's just talk for 1 second about the U.S. politics. I want to give forget your politics, I want to give one moment of recognition to a couple of people. Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who's become vilified, has to have his net worth to begin to step into service because he believed in free speech. He fought for our future. Donald Trump, our crypto president, that created on March 7th the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve that said America now is buying, it's collecting Bitcoin, not buying, consolidating Bitcoin to create a digital Fort Knox told the banking industry that historically debanked us. How many people were debanked? Anyone in this room? I see a lot of hands. And those hands will not be raising again because they've been instructed that we matter, that we are the ones changing the world. We're building a better world, and we are no longer the rejects. We are no longer living in the fringes, in the shadows. We are invited into the light of day. And the world will be inviting us. And to give a little bit of honor to this country, to the UAE, for its leadership, its recognition, its brave, courageous ability to see the future and to build it. To the dreamers, to this nation and those that follow, President Bukele, Palau, Estonia, there's not many, but thank you to the big ones. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, and UAE, Dubai.
So what appropriate topic of politicians, because I've never seen politicians dodge my question so professionally. But let's switch a different note. So the power of decentralization, the power of what made Wall Street Bets what it is, together strong. It is part of what can actually create, like I said earlier, a counterbalance, a check on power, especially because it technologically relies on community. That is what makes it strong. There is no off button. At the same time, decentralized currently exists very fractionalized and factionalized. It doesn't talk to itself properly. And we're trying to pass legislation, we're trying to figure out how to make it safe, we're trying how to get the scams out of there. It's getting bigger, more complicated, a lot of little communities. Very difficult to be able to squeeze the power out of it. So what are we doing about the ecosystem, which is increasingly getting more complicated, more robust, fractionalized and factionalized?
Well, the scams have existed since the beginning of time. They're not new here. Every time there's been an asymmetry of information, whether it was the internet or any other technological leap, those that are in the know, not all, some of us are good, but those in the know take advantage of those that don't know. So the only thing I can tell you is, if you don't know, now you know. Take the time to learn. That's how you protect yourself against all things. Don't be, blind following the herd. Be informed, educate yourself, and understand what you're doing and why. We don't do things because we can. We do things because we should. Because we've asked ourselves, why are we doing this? Every one of you matters. You exist for a reason. You've been given the great gift of life. The great gift of life, and your life matters. Your life has meaning and purpose. And I pray you find it if you haven't yet.
Thank you, Brock. You had two parts to your question. One was on scams, the other one was on silos. I'll address the silos. I think that we're going to be coming into a golden age of the melding of blockchains. I know there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there, no second best, Sailor, etc. And I think Bitcoin will always have a special place in the world as the ultimate store of value, and increasingly it will be digital gold, that every country starts wanting to have more Bitcoin USD value than gold, and there's just not that much going around, so it's going to continue to get priced up. The first country to print dollars out of thin air to buy Bitcoin wins, and some are also going to sell gold and buy Bitcoin at the right time. So, but at the same time, you now have a lot of new technologies, many of them being built in Dubai, built in this room. I'm an investor and advisor in Nakamoto Hub. I believe the CEO and the Chief Business Officer are still here in the back. They have a platform called Tachi that is actually building EVM and Solana VM natively on chain with Bitcoin. And so that type of thing will bring things together. I know DNA has a number of different companies that it has backed, as have I, that are looking at doing multi-chain in a seamless and safe way, whether it's bridging, whether it's bridgeless, whether it's on Bitcoin, whether it's on Ethereum, whether it's just doesn't matter. Matterify is who won here is doing some interesting things in the ability to go in between chains. Wire Network, who's did an event earlier this week, also doing that. So there's some great innovation. And Tachi's doing it right in Dubai. There's a lot of companies now that are being built, not just funded in Dubai. And the U.S. finally is starting to have people stay in the U.S. and even come back to the U.S. Nobody wants to go and build products in the BVI, right? They want to build them in New York and in San Francisco. We're still working on New York, and you've done a great job with Eric Adams, Brock I, and Mayor Adams had a great fireside chat like this in tokenized Puerto Rico Blockchain Week.
Well, I was on the phone with the mayor of New York City on my ride here. I was on the phone with the mayor of New York City on the ride here. He is hosting on May 20th a conference at Gracie Mansion. Contact me if you want to be part of it. To make sure that New York City, the historic financial capital of the world in the 20th century, can stay through the 21st and into the 22nd. At Gracie Mansion on May 20th, tomorrow is the press conference.
One more question. One of the things that kept me away from crypto was number go up. When Bitcoin's up, it's great. When Bitcoin's down, it sucks. When you say crypto to people, they think number. Eventually, I was convinced to lift and see past the numbers. And the technology was, in fact, what got me here. So what can the community, crypto, and governments and legislators do to try and actually showcase the absolute potential of the decentralized technology with all the infinite benefits and sophistication far beyond what currently exists today in all the different ways. In other ways, how can we get people to stop thinking crypto means Bitcoin number go up?
Well, first of all, remember why you're here. It's not about what you have. Your life is about what you do with the time that you've been given. What are the possibilities of you being embodied, being a vessel, being a vassal? The odds of you being alive they're in the billions. And give thanks to your father and your mother, to all your ancestors for your existence, and understanding that your life is a gift, that you have an opportunity to make the world a better place. That's what you got. Money should never be the objective or the goal. It's the byproduct of doing God or good work. If you're chasing the almighty dollar by whatever name it has, you're on a fool's errand. You have the ability to change the world. Every single one of you here. I hope you rise to the occasion.
Sure. Anybody have a question for the panel? Remember, guys, we have Jamie, founder of Wall Street Bets. We have, one moment, hold on. We have Brock Pierce with all his great involvement in Tether, DNA Fund, EOS. We have Michael Turpin going back. He was asked to speak by Vitalik at his university about Bitcoin way pre-Ethereum. That's how far this guy goes back. Anybody have any questions? We got Taco, and one of our city leaders, actually.
GM, everyone. Jamie, this is for you to start off with, but I want to hear from all three of you. Outside of AI, what is some of the coolest tech you're seeing built on blockchain?
Such a great question, such a quick answer. The one that makes it work with itself, right? The fact that I have to, if I tweet GameStop, buy the meme coin, the pump fund, I'm not talking about the tokenized. There's going to be 17 different communities with 5,000 people on Telegram fighting me over a meme token that celebrates together strong. That's a problem. They picked the wrong freaking meme to fight over. So the technology that I'm most enthusiastic about is the one that makes crypto a single concept, a single entity that works with itself natively, trustlessly, no third-party consensus mechanism, in a way that is easy for everybody to onboard. You can buy Trump coin with Bitcoin in one shot, and Satoshi Nakamoto can shake hands with Vitalik with the fact that everybody agrees with this. That's what I'm betting on, and that's what I believe is going to be the future. And shout out to Wire Network, because they are the only ones that I believe have accomplished this.
So I'm going to take that question and answer a question that many think about. Are we facing Terminator? As we look at the landscape of work, as it changes, as most work to live or survive. Some of us are so blessed that we get to work to live. You know, we do it as a point of purpose. What is our future outcome? How does this story end or begin again? Well, it depends on you. AI is a reflection of us. It's created in our image. It is a derivative work. Meaning that as good as we are, as we rise to the occasion, it is a reflection of us. If we're our best selves, we get the best possible outcome. If we're our worst selves, God help us.
So, other than AI, I'd say real world assets and also sort of the mainstreaming of crypto and TradFi, and I think basically it's TradFi now chasing us, whereas a decade ago it might have been the other way. But to go back to AI, you know, if you look in the mainstream AI community, they still really pay very little attention to decentralized AI. They kind of laugh at it, you know, just like the early days of Bitcoin. It's a toy. It's nowhere near our market cap. Just like in the early days of Amazon, I remember there was a piece in Newsweek that was basically saying, "Oh, come on, the internet? What a joke." There's more buyers at my neighborhood, you know, chain store than there are in the entire internet. And now, of course, Amazon's bigger than everything else out there, every supermarket chain, etc. And Newsweek is dead. So the print magazine, and so I think it's you know, relics are floating around there somewhere. But for the most part, I would say that the future of AI is decentralized, and because, you know, as you're building these things, if all of a sudden you're able to go in and automate all these things really quickly, are you going to trust the banking system and PayPal to go and pay for doing 1,000 transactions in an hour? No, you're going to want to go and have an agent that is powered by stable coins, that is controlled by you and not controlled by Amazon or Facebook or Google or PayPal. And so I think people are going to realize that. And you know, that's the defense for killer robots. Just like you have separation of the powers of the U.S. government. You want to stop the killer robots? Take away their wallet.
So we're out of time. I just want to give a little bit of thanks to everybody for showing up in Dubai, here in the UAE.